Definitely one of my all-time favorites. I don't know if it actually burns quite a lot. Usually this is the part where I'm like in the taxi and I'm kind of like panicking. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Personal Beauty. I'm your host Shannon. Today we're going to be diving into how to do a bare skin look with minimal products, starting with a little bit of skincare, and then we'll get into some of the products, and we're going to do that fresh face kind of glass skin look. So before we get started today, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. Next week will be a holiday, so we're going to be doing a special episode. If you guys are interested, make sure to tune in at 6 p.m. Before I get started with this, I wanted to talk a little bit about what goes into some skin prep, as well as what we're going to be doing as far as makeup. If you guys have any questions or comments, make sure to drop it in the box down below. So as far as the clean girl kind of makeup aesthetic, it always starts with a good skincare base. So we're first going to be starting with obviously a clean face. I don't have any makeup on right now, so I'm sorry about these are my two new little friends that we're going to be covering up. But I am wearing a little bit of mascara because my eyelashes are blonde and I would look a little bit crazy if that wasn't the case. Let's go ahead and get started. This first product right here is actually by Laneige. This is Cream Skin. This is one of my favorites to set as far as a toner base. So we're just gonna pour a little bit into your hands. Some people use toner as like a pad kind of method, but I prefer to just use it on my hands because I can warm up the product and I can be a little bit more able to control how much I'm using as well. So we're just gonna put this right on. I've never done this on camera actually. This feels interesting. All right, let's see. Go on a date. I don't know if Koreanet is about me doing that, you guys. It's a good day to put on makeup. Good morning. Hot Friday. Shanjok. Nice to meet you, Shanjok. Welcome to the chat. Obsessed with this glowy look today. So this is me just putting on the toner. It's actually absorbing pretty quickly, you guys, because I didn't have anything on before. Usually I would just wash my face before something like this, but today I actually just used a makeup wipe. So I'm a little bit on the dry side. So there we go, we've got a little bit of toner on. That is the first step. Next one would actually be Serum. So this is a Korean brand that I'm actually obsessed with. I like this one because their serum formulas are actually a little bit more light and soft. My skin type is kind of somewhere between dry and combination, so something like this really sits well with my skin. I like it because the hyalu or the hyaluronic acid is going to be a really important point for hydration, and then the cica is going to help with minimizing pores and reducing inflammation. So same thing, I actually don't use a lot of like fancy tools when I'm doing my skincare or my makeup. I really just use my hands for the most of it. You guys will see that as well when I do the concealer. I don't even use a brush for that, just use my hands. So it's really quintessential, just easy, very quick routine. So next up we have our tone correcting base. This is the Skin Setting Serum by Jungsemul. I like this one actually because it acts like a couple different products. This one, of course, is a tone correcting one. It's green, so this is going to take some of the redness out of my skin by muting some of those red tones. It's also an SPF 50 with a PA+ of 3, so it's a sunscreen. This one, of course, is obviously a base, so I like this one because it acts like a primer as well. So definitely one of my all-time favorites. I don't know if you guys can see this texture. It comes out kind of liquidy, like that. But this one is gonna dry pretty matte. If you guys don't like that matte feeling, I would recommend going with something more by Skin Fix. This is my favorite. I am gonna pull out a mirror for this one because it will leave streaks on my face if I don't. So I kind of start by tapping this one just to let it seep into the skin a little bit more. But at some point I do kind of rub it. This one can start to sort of streak a little bit. Okay, I think that's pretty much done. So there we go. This is just the base, the primer. I'll be fun to show you guys this one a little bit. First, I'm actually gonna do concealer. For my concealer, I do have a Korean brand here. This is Kill Cover by Clio. This is one of the only ones I find that doesn't actually slip, especially if you get oily throughout the day. I tend to go to the gym quite a lot and I'll get oily right around this area. So I use this little guy right here. It's kind of like a little bullet. I like how compact and tight it is. Again, I am gonna pull out my mirror just so I can be a little bit more precise. It's kind of hard to see myself from here. Okay, just for reference, this is also in the color Ivory. So I'm just gonna sit here for a minute and let that dry. Usually this is the part where I'm like in the taxi and I'm kind of like panicking because I'm like 5 minutes away from the destination. But we're just gonna let this dry a little bit so that it can set. Typically, if you wanna set a liquid product, you would use like a setting powder. don't have one of those right now, so we're just gonna try to dry it with some air. Okay, so as far as the makeup look, this is something that is a little bit more breathable. I've mentioned this in previous episodes, but there is a super humid summer coming up in Korea, and I can already tell it's gonna be really hot. So it's really important to me to make sure that I'm wearing makeup that's not gonna look crazy if I start sweating. So this would be one of those options. So like I said, I don't really use a lot of tools when I do my makeup. I'm just gonna go ahead and move around some of this concealer underneath the eye area. So you can already kind of see a difference there, how dark this part of my under eye is, and then on this side it's a little bit lighter. I tend to move my concealer out around a little bit on my cheeks because I am a little bit flushed in the center of my cheek. So moving on from concealer, I will now go into this option. This is that liquid color one. So this is actually pretty unique. I'll have to show you guys how I apply this one. I'm not exactly sure what the proper technique is for this, but this one has a little spatula at the end. This spatula is really drenched in pigment, and this one goes a long way. So I usually just kind of brush one side like that and then put it back. So I don't really use a whole lot. This is actually more of a tint. So these tints tend to stay quite a while. I usually just rub it in between two fingers like that. And I actually just realized I can't hold my mirror while I'm using two different hands. So we're just gonna go in blind and see how this works out. I feel like I know my face well enough to do this. So we really just kind of go across the top of the cheeks here. It looks a little bit rough at first, but it'll blend out slowly, trust me on this. Wait, are you really wearing no foundation? Yes, I'm really not wearing foundation right now. Just a touch of concealer goes a long way. Outfit, attitude, truly unstoppable. Thank you. I'm seeing so many positive comments today. You guys are so nice. We're gonna move on from here. Like I said, I actually do get my brows laminated and tinted, but typically I'll show you what I would do. I would go in with this one here. This is just a general spoolie and a little bit of an angled brush. So using my mirror, I will just brush up my brows like this. Create a little bit more of a shape there. I actually have a little bit of that green right there. There we go. It's just to make it look a little bit more full because I actually don't have eyebrow hair over here. So after that, usually this would take me maybe like an additional 2 minutes, but we're just gonna fill this in a little bit. After that, I would just kind of move on and do some mascara. Like I said, I do actually have my mascara already on, so I'm not gonna be able to show you guys that. But I will show you the mascara that I use. This is my favorite since middle school. So this one has been tried and true for me, and so much so that you can't even see the label, I'm realizing. Waterproof is a nightmare for me because I can't get it off because I don't like to use oil-based makeup remover. But just as a reference, I would kind of brush it up just like this, and you try not to get it on your eyelid, typically. But yeah, a little bit of mascara just like that to kind of wake up your face. Last step I'm gonna be doing is lips. So I'm not wearing anything on my lips now. And last but not least, this is the one that has also been in my bag forever and is almost empty. This is the Too Faced Lip Injection Maximum Plump. So with this one, I put it on when I don't have a lipstick or a lip liner because this one does plump your lips or it burns. It actually burns quite a lot, but I like it because it brings your lips to like a natural color. It kind of stimulates blood flow to the area. It plumps them up, makes them a little bit burn, makes them a little bit more pink. But I can use this one instead of using like a lipstick or something that'll move around, especially if I'm gonna be outside or something like that. It also acts as a gloss, obviously, so this is gonna be a little bit more of a kind of wet look as well. All right, so last step, we're just gonna set that. Let that dry. Try not to breathe it in also. So after that, once this dries, typically this is a makeup finishing spray. Be careful when you guys are doing this last step. If you guys are familiar with makeup and facial products, don't use a hydration spray over top of makeup because it can actually split the makeup. Make sure that you're using a finishing spray or a makeup setting spray because these contain alcohol. This is gonna help the makeup to dry and set a little bit more. So just make sure that you're making that distinction. After that, we're just going to finish it off by taking my hair down, and that's it. So very easy, very simple. I've done this one on the go many, many times, and I'll probably continue to do the same makeup routine. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, just drop it down in the comment section below. Also, you guys, if you have suggestions for future episodes, we are always listening and reading the comments. So don't be afraid to share your ideas. It's really fun. Shannon looking beautiful as always. Thank you guys so much. Natural brows, but still shape. Teach me, please. Check out your brow lamination artist or somebody near you who does brows, because I also would like to learn. Anyways, I always struggle with matching shoes. Hope this helps. Okay. I think with matching shoes, the key would be to have the lights on in the house before you leave. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. I will see you guys next week. Like I said, we do have a very special episode, so make sure you guys tune in at 6 p.m. I will see you next time. Bye.